definitely, 100%. I actually think that's what makes actually a good coach.
Do you feel you can relate 100% to those balancing all we do with a non-fitness full-time job? Ever make the same mistake, i.e. letting life take over and letting training and nutrition slip?
It's not just a maths equation. It's not just the amount of calories you're on. Humans need communication, coaching, and adjustments.
Do you prioritize certain clients based on their potential results, social media impact, or personal preference? Life will keep trying to teach you the same lesson until you learn from it.
When you are working with a coach, that you're explaining to them maybe what life is like for you.
You're never going to give up food, you're never giving up walking, you're never giving up sleeping, you're never giving up talking. We do it every day anyway. So what really are you giving up is you're just giving up on yourself. Hey there, and welcome to the Future Fitness Lifestyle. If you're passionate about staying fit, healthy, and mentally sharp, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Matt Cooney, and each week we dive into the latest trends, expert insights, and actionable tips to help you take your fitness, nutrition, and mental well-being to the next level. Ready to level up your health and fitness? Let's jump in and get started. So, hello and welcome to the Future Fitness Lifestyle Podcast, and this is our first ever live podcast, which is quite weird, I won't lie. So, welcome everyone. You can make noise so that people know that you're here.
That we're not just in an empty room.
Yeah.
Live.
Or that we're not on trial. It looks like we're on trial. We didn't do anything wrong, I swear. So, we'll get cracking into the questions. So really, first off, thank you for all the questions. We will try and get through as many as we can. We have about 8 or 9. So, first one is a light one. We'll go, if you could only pick one of the other coaches to coach you, who would you pick and why? Tommy, we'll start on the left.
Goes to me straight away. Puts me on the spot. Well, I can't pick you, Cooney, because basically Cooney has coached me for my entire life. Since probably what? Since I was about, Matt started doing promo since I was about
15 maybe? 16?
No, maybe 17. Yeah, actually right here in the Abbey Court.
I was going to say over there.
Yeah, which is crazy to think. What's it if I was to choose? That's I choose both ladies. Sharon and Eve. I'm going to be political. I'm going to say I choose both ladies.
That's called sitting on the fence, Tommy.
You have to choose one though, Tommy. One time.
Sharon, how about you?
Can we not choose our coach?
You can.
Yeah.
There's no I don't think there's any rules.
I think I would have Eve coach me all the time. No offense, Matt.
Why? Why though, Sharon? Why?
Why?
Well, I did coach you first, actually.
You did coach me first. You were my first ever coach. Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, I can be hard on myself, and I can maybe. I feel like I need Eve that little bit more to help me soften down a little bit and to not be as hard on myself. And definitely working with Eve for me has really helped me improve the approach I use with myself, and then as a result the approach I use with clients. And since I started working with Eve, with her coaching me, my coaching has improved. And she's always improving as a coach, so I think that will always help me stay improving. And if she doesn't want to coach me forever, I will ring you, Matt.
So I'm second, yeah? At least I'm second, I'll take that.
You're second.
So I'm going to pick Tommy just because I think you would challenge me in ways or ask me tough questions. So yeah, that's probably why I'd pick you. And Eve?
I would pick Sharon because
you don't have to.
I would pick Sharon because I think I would look forward to her check-ins, and also because I would listen to you.
And what about Tommy? Scared?
Girl power.
It's okay. I'm fine. I can take it. It's fine.
So, our feelings.
Second question. For the full-time coaches, fitness is both your job and lifestyle. Do you feel you can relate 100% to those balancing all we do with a non-fitness full-time job?
Nice. I can go first on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this question for relating to others, let me just look at it again. I think like for all of us here, we kind of have all had different jobs before being coaches. And even like myself, I've had a full-time job. I've worked 9 to 5. I've also done like shift work. So I've worked night shifts. I've been full-time studying, things like that. And like I think all of us here have all had different types of jobs. Like Tommy's been corporate, Matt has worked on gym floors, Sharon again has had a number of jobs, and you know, from working in nursing homes to working on gym, doing classes as well. So I think, you know, we all kind of come together, and especially I think when we kind of talk and when we have meetings and things like that, we can all kind of help each other with different things like that as well. And I definitely think, especially from Sharon, I'd learn a lot just with especially being a mother, because she brings that to the team where, you know, she can help us with that kind of side of coaching.
Yeah. And even for me as well, yeah, I think sometimes with the job, you think it's like fitness, but basically my job is sitting at an office that's just at home. And like as a coach, so I just literally am basically office based all day. So I'd have similar to a lot of people probably not in a fitness job who are office or even in the corporate world. So I'd have an understanding of that. And I think for us, we have a lot of life experience with other things, you know, like I've worked on building sites, I've done shift work, and you kind of get an understanding of what people go through, and even over the years with experience. I think a lot of that, even sometimes with age as well, as you get older, you see things differently. You know, you can relate, like sometimes when you're in your 20s, you have no responsibilities. Like when I started doing PT, I probably didn't really understand other people's lives as much, you know, or I was maybe not as understanding of people's needs, you know, because for me it's like, oh yeah, you can just go to the gym, eat your food, do whatever you need to do. But then as you age, you get older, and as you get more experience, you kind of realize that that's a fairy tale for people in their 20s who have nothing else to do with their life. So yeah, I think age and experience kind of helps with it, you know. And then obviously the more people you work with, the more you see common traits and things, essentially struggles that people go through, you know.
Yeah, I think it comes as well, like you understand how to coach people better when you have coached more people as well. So like, even though, okay, maybe we mightn't have, for a lot of my clients, like they obviously wouldn't do work like I do, but they're still doing the same things. They're like balancing and juggling life, home, work, family, friendships. And I think, as like Matt said, you know, when you get older and you have more responsibilities and your priorities are different. For me, as I've gotten older, my priorities have shifted a little bit. Like, even though I would have been working or I would have had a small child, like training, nutrition, that was like priority for me. Again, it's knowing what maybe my clients are struggling with when it comes to their work and their routine and their home life. And it's that communication piece. It's so important that when you are working with a coach, that you're explaining to them maybe what life is like for you. And even though my life mightn't be the same to my clients, it's being able to kind of relate to that and understanding. And like, even it's like what you said, Matt, working online, I find the days that I'm working online coaching harder than the days that I'm actually in doing a shift in work or I'm teaching classes. That it's your movement's less. you know, you're trying to manage your time as best you can, and again, you're working from home. So even though it maybe, you know, people might see, okay, you're working online and you have the freedom, you have the flexibility, but it can often be perceived different to maybe what it is.
Yeah, that's all. I always think people, even when you own your own business, someone was saying it before, it's like, I give up a 9 to 5 to work 24/7. So it's like, it's sometimes you don't, and a lot of you here, if you're like more of that nearly like type A personality as well, like a lot of you might relate, like it's hard to switch off sometimes, you know. So you can kind of you can relate to people that way as well. With stress is stress at the end of the day, whether it's personally, professionally, whatever it is. So there is a lot of, I think, similarities across the board, you know. But I think that's a really good question.
Are you reading everything about that one again?
The question.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got that right. Yeah, it's definitely hard trying to juggle multiple different things, and I think for me this past year has really allowed me more to relate to the people that I talk to. More so maybe the last 2 years, but definitely this year, because I've just taken on more things in my life where I've had to. It's essentially taken up more time in my life beforehand. Before I joined Future Fitness, before I went back to college, I was really just working a 9 to 5 job. I didn't have any kids, so I had a lot of spare time for myself to work on myself. But like these past 2 years, I'm involved in a lot of different things, and there's a lot of things happening in my life, so definitely can relate to a lot more people who are, like the guy said, juggling so many different aspects of their life, whether they have kids, they're in college themselves, they're working, they're doing multiple different things. And although I don't have any kids, I've always had such admiration for parents in this life, and particularly single parents. And I think we can do our best to be able to try and understand that, but at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing for parents is just trying to have a sense of compassion for themselves, for the job that they're doing with trying to look after their children, but also trying to look after themselves. And I think when I talk to people, to try my best to really just give them that space to be able to understand that they deserve that compassion for the life that they're trying to live and the life that they're trying to create for their children.
Next question is, do you prioritize certain clients based on their potential results, social media impact, or personal preference? Nice question.
I don't know.
Maybe that?
Yeah, you go.
You go.
You go, Matt.
You start.
So I think with prioritizing certain clients, it's more, I know the type of client we want to work with, and it's never really based on their potential results or even social media. Like, actually, it's funny because basically none of our clients really use social media. As in, you all look at it, but you're not really like content creators. Like, no, very few people are in here. So I feel like it's more, it's not personal, it's not preference, but it's like there's a type of person that we kind of want to help, which we kind of do know and understand. And something that I said recently, even in our chat, was like, coach the person, not the outcome. So we try to coach everybody as the person, not based on like, this person will get the best results, or this person can give me a better transformation so I can put it on social media, you know, because like we're lucky in a way that we're at the stage anyway that, you know, we could just post the results from the last 10 years and probably never need to do it to have results again. But that's not what we like obviously want, and it's more the type of person that we want to help versus the results that we're looking to achieve with someone, you know, if that makes sense. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thoughts?
No?
Oh yeah, okay.
You can leave me hanging here?
Yeah, I don't think, when it comes to, I think when it comes to clients, for me anyway, when they have a goal and I'm trying to help them achieve that goal, that would never be, I suppose, a thought if I can really help them achieve this goal now, it'll look good on social media, and I know often that we see so many different transformations from so many different coaches online, but really again, like, they are just physical transformations, and for so many of our clients it's more than that. I think when it would come to maybe would I prioritize certain clients, if a client needed extra support or extra guidance, I probably would move them up on my check-in list that week. If maybe I knew they were struggling, or like the week of the photo shoot, that I would have a list of clients that needed to be given feedback for their check-in. But on the week before, 2 weeks before, I just moved them up a little bit on my check-in list so that they'd get their feedback sooner, but everyone would still be getting their check-in. Or like, I had a client doing a marathon a couple of weeks ago, so it was writing in my book, my diary that week, make sure and text, because otherwise I would forget. So it's prioritizing, communicating, making contact with that client in case they have any questions or they need any guidance and they're not sending the text to me. Or if I knew maybe a client was struggling, then I would maybe look at reaching out to them just that little bit more on those weeks.
Yeah, I think, like, similar to what Sharon said, 100% agree with that. Like, the clients that you're prioritising are the ones that need the most help. And even like with our check-in forms, that first first question is, are you red, green or yellow? And anyone that's red, that means I'm struggling. They're the ones that will get the priority, and kind of that, you'll kind of message first or be on top of them a little bit more, just checking in with them, seeing how they're feeling. And yeah, like she said as well, if someone's obviously doing a photo shoot or a marathon or whatever it is, if it's a fight, if Alice is here, but you'll be checking in on them a little bit more that week and just making sure, they're feeling good and they have the plan in place. And yeah, I think that's it.
For me, anyway, when it comes to priorities around clients and that, I really only have one thing that I look for in a client, and that's that they are wanting to change. When I sit down with people, it's one of the first questions I'll ask people is that, do they want to change? And if that person comes back to me and says yes, and there's a willingness there to wanting to try to do that, for me, that's all that I need to hear from a client. In terms of the work that I do with social media, I don't promote or express that on social media. Really, I'm not interested in that external validation. For me, why I do this is simply just to help other people, and the validation that I get from that is giving people the space to be able to understand themselves that bit more, and to be able to let go of some of the beliefs or the fears that they have that have held them back. And when I can see progress, when I can see growth within someone, and they can see that progress in themselves, that's all the validation that I'll ever need when it comes to working with clients.
That kind of leads into the next question with the kind of wanting to change, I think, because the next one is, do you ever feel some clients might be better served by a new coach once you've taken them as far as you can? Another really good question.
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Under the bus.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I actually think that's what makes actually a good coach, is knowing and understanding that coaching is a relationship. Me and one person may not connect in a way that they might connect to someone else that I believe that could help them in a way that they may need. And I think that's actually important to know and understand that certain people in life won't be able to connect with each other. Of course, there's always a willingness between all of us to wanting to help and change people. But if it comes to a case where maybe the relationship is not working, and you feel like they may be served. It's always duty of care to the client, and looking after them and thinking that there might actually be someone else out there that might be able to offer you a place where, you know, that an opportunity for you to be able to actually to change within yourselves. And I think that's really important. So it is to accepting that about yourselves, is that we can't help everyone. That's just, I believe simply life is not like that. Certain people will connect better with other people, and I think it's important for you to find that. And I think that's why the community that we have really reinforces that. The people that we have within here really do connect with each other, and they connect with our core values, our principles, and I think that's what creates success within what we do.
And just something that popped out to me, even with the question, so it's like, served by a new coach once you've taken them as far as you can. I think of it more, something that I had to, I suppose, learn is like, it's not even as far as I can take someone, it's like sometimes as far as they want to go, because I can't force somebody to try to achieve something that maybe they don't want to, which is maybe something I would have been before, because some people are just genuinely will maybe get to a point where they're just happy to stay there. They're fine, you know, they've got to a point where they don't really want to go any further, and that's fine, you know, which is good. That means, but it's like understanding that as well, and that's where communication, and even for me with like people's goals, I was probably, something I had to learn was like to try to detach myself a little bit more from other people's goals, because I wanted, sometimes like I wanted them to achieve it more than they wanted it, so you get like, you get attached to it, you know, and you not that you care more than they care, but you can't. It has to be like you said, a relationship has to be equal. So that's probably something for me. And then sometimes I think with like that, people may start going down different avenues in terms of like different interests or want to achieve different things, which then they might be better served with a different coach who actually specializes in X, Y, Z, you know. And that's why even with us, what we do, we try to cover all bases with training, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset. But again, some people might fall outside that needs a specialist in a certain area, you know. So yeah, that's where I think sometimes you can, and it just comes down to communication and sometimes looking at it through that lens, because often, especially with coaching, and you can get like, is it an ego thing where you get like nearly afraid to not let people off, but like recommend them to somebody else because you feel like you've done something wrong or that you're not capable, you know. When I think that's another thing with age and experience, is like, even for me, like saying I don't know is fine to me now, versus years ago I would be like very much resistant. I would like trying to come up with an answer when I don't know it, you know. Whereas now it's like, I don't know, but I'll go find somebody who does know for you, or who's better, you know. That makes sense?
Yeah. And I think sometimes clients, like when ye have been working together for a long time and, you know, they have achieved goals, or maybe things might be happening where coaching isn't working for them, or they're not able to maybe give what they would like to give, and it's creating that kind of maybe inner conflict for them. Sometimes I've had clients who are saying, you know, maybe I need to take a step back from coaching, and it's like that. It was like before, I'd be like, oh no, like, God, if you leave and I'm going to be failing as a coach because you're not, you know, staying on. Whereas now it's like, okay, this is what's best for this client right now, is to take a step back. And sometimes when clients do step back, they do end up working with new coaches. But again, with working with new coaches, you're going to learn new things, so it's a good thing. But also as well, when you're working with clients, well, I know when I'm working with clients, I want them to be able to leave me as a coach and not need another coach straight away. I want what they're doing to be like so habitual, so routine, so part of their lifestyle and what they're doing, that if they wanted to step back from coaching for a couple of months, that they could maintain where they were until they were either ready to set new goals and come back on board as a client, or set goals and look for a coach who could better help them to achieve that.
Next question. I'll skip one. I'll come back to that. So this one is.
Easy one.
I don't know about easy, but did you ever make the same mistake, i.e., letting life take over and letting training and nutrition slip?
Flat out, yes. Definitely. Yeah, like I said it at the start, that this year has been the busiest year of my entire life, and definitely there has just come times where, like Sharon said in her talk earlier on, when we talk about personal, professional and physical, there's going to be times where certain areas, certain parts of that are going to be lower than the other. And definitely for me, my physical, I would say, in terms of my own training, that has definitely taken a back seat to my personal life, because of just a very important part of my life right now, what's going on. But I'm totally okay with that, because even though when I hear the voice coming in and saying to myself that, oh, you know, you're not training as much as what you want to, or that you like to be doing, I know that I have the habits and I have the routines. I can fall back into it. Okay, maybe not just like that, but I know that if I really sit down and when I do have more time, that I will fall back into that, and that because of the habits and the routines that I've built up over the years, it is easier for me to go straight back into that lifestyle, which I love. So for me, my answer to that would definitely be yes. So I don't think that you can, let's say, be up here the whole time, the majority of your life. I don't think that's possible, because like what I already talked about, everyone has so many different aspects of their life that are trying to grab their attention from, and we're all simply just trying to do the best that we can with that.
And I think for you though as well, like your training may have slipped, but it hasn't like fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it maybe wasn't where it was last year, but it's still there. It's still just not, like you said, it's just time. And you said time, energy. It's just, and I think it's been okay with that. And something that popped into my head is like a lesson I had was life will keep trying to teach you the same lesson until you learn from it. So I've even noticed that myself, is like the same thing keeps happening until you actually learn what you're meant to learn. So it definitely has popped up to me quite a few times. Training and nutrition, not so much do I let that slip, maybe a little bit, but they're so hardwired into me now that it's not really it's just what I do. It's more the lifestyle mindset that I would fall into, is again just stressing too much, maybe letting work take over, not giving myself enough time to actually relax and unwind. So that would be for me more the same, I would say same mistake I make, but I try to get better at it, you know. But definitely I think all of us will naturally fall back into old habits, routines and beliefs, and like we've talked about today with the new identity, with knowing your values, and I'm sure what Tommy's going to talk about next, you'll understand it will happen. It's more being able to catch it and having the awareness with it.
Sorry guys for the interruption. I'm pretty sure our cameraman Jeff's battery died at this point and he had to go and change it real quickly. So he missed a little bit. But the next question that we got into was, how much have your beliefs in fitness changed over the years?
Well, I would believe that you would want to change your beliefs over time. Definitely with fitness, I think my beliefs in fitness from when I started, I was going to say here, but it actually wasn't. It was down in the Nina Leisure Centre when I was 16, when I first started working out. And yeah, my belief systems about nutrition, about physical exercise have massively changed over the years, all through coaching and education from mostly Matt. And I think we see a lot, obviously, online now these days, a lot of information, but a lot of it, obviously, can be very misleading. And I think it's up to you with how you respond to that, how you deal with that, how you perceive that information, and how you take on that information. I think just bringing it back to the basis for me, like what physical exercise, good nutrition does for me, it simply just makes me feel good. And that's something that I will always prioritise in my life, is trying to look after my own health through either physical exercise or whether it be nutrition. And I think the wonderful thing about life is that you get an opportunity to learn every single day. So I think you always get an opportunity to learn new things about life itself, whether that be through people or whether that be through platforms like social media or podcasts or books. There's so much information out there in the world, and there's so much new research and studies being done about how we live. And I think that's something to be inspired about, is that we can always learn more and upskill and improve our own beliefs.
Yeah, my beliefs have definitely changed anyway, because I started. Why are you laughing?
I'm just thinking about you with the chicken rice.
Oh
broccoli.
right, yeah. But, like I started fitness because I wanted a six-pack. To be honest, that was, I didn't have. Is that even a belief? It was. There was nothing else. It was just, I don't know why I thought my life might change if I get a six-pack, and then it was more performance-based. So it was to try and be like a athletic point of view. So it was all about like the one being the best athlete in the world, and then now it's more health based. Through that, I started to discover mindset and lifestyle. I would have been just training and nutrition first. It was just training, actually. I didn't have a clue about nutrition starting out. I could tell you a few stories about nutrition, but I won't. So then, yeah, it kind of started with training, developed nutrition, because I realized, okay, if you actually want to get results from the training you're doing, you need to eat right. Did that, and then it was like, how can I get better results? And then I realized things about lifestyle, again, stress, sleep, all that, how it affected everything. And then got to a point where I started to realize mindset was such a big part of it. And again, I was probably very resistant to mindset at the start. Didn't know it existed, or why even people did that type of stuff. And then, yeah, so it's completely changed, and now for me it's more, again, health based. And I think all of us, it's actually quite good. People are becoming more health based, I think, in fitness, which is I've actually seen it there. Health was Googled more this year than fat loss or muscle building, which is like the first time in like ever basically.
Since Google.
Yeah, since we're of age to Google, I suppose. So yeah, that, like, I think that is hopefully a positive trend that fitness is going towards that more health-based approach. So yeah, that's definitely have changed over the years. And you?
Yeah, I definitely think as well, at the start, like, you just kind of think about, like, similar to what you were saying, it's just training and nutrition, that's what you need to focus on. And like, you know, if someone wants to lose weight, or if someone wants to lose weight, it's like a maths equation. Do this, follow this plan, get this result. but kind of understanding that it's not just a maths equation. It's not just the amount of calories you're on. Humans need communication, coaching, and adjustments. And someone could be the exact same person as someone else, but they might need two completely different approaches. And like, it's about kind of coaching the person and not the seen as like a maths equation.
It's why fortunately AI is not going to take
Yeah.
over. The robots are not going to take our
Yeah.
jobs, I don't think, unless they become emotional creatures
Yeah.
somehow. Which they might, like you might get an emotional robot, but yeah, I think we at least have that safety. You, Sharon?
Yeah, definitely know my beliefs have changed an awful lot. Again, it comes back to that when you know better, you're going to do better. Like, there's so many of us here, especially women, who would have thought, like, carbs are bad and you can only be eating these certain foods, and, running and fitness classes, and that's how you needed to do it. And I think we were taught these things as well, but the people who were teaching us, they were only telling us what they thought would work or what they thought should be done, and we just kind of went along, we copied it. And then I suppose now as well, especially with social media, it is one good thing about social media is there's so much more education, and we have so much more access to like that, different coaches, different approaches, and the fitness industry itself has evolved and changed. So I definitely think for a lot of coaches, we have changed, and how we coach as well has.
Yeah. And I think you said it at the start, Tommy, is like the beliefs. Everybody should change, and even if you look at like what we used to do when we first started out 10 years ago, it has kind of evolved and changed in line with kind of everything we just said there, So we have, how many minutes? 3 minutes. 3 minutes we'll go with, I think we only have one question left, or maybe two. One, we'll get this one anyway. How do coaches manage to keep motivated themselves, and do you ever feel like giving up on clients?
Saucy question.
Who's talking here first?
I don't mind going first again.
Who's going to break the silence?
On the motivation part, do we ever give up on motivation? What's the motivation part?
How do you manage to keep motivated, and do you ever feel like giving up on clients?
Okay, well, I don't manage to keep motivated.
Yeah. We were just talking about this on last week's
Yeah.
podcast.
Tune in to last week's podcast.
Yeah, to listen to that answer. But just quickly, like, motivation is simply just an energy source. Just like anything else, willpower. You're not going to be motivated all the time, 24/7. As every single person here knows, you're not motivated to get up and do the things that you have to do every single day of your life. Find me a person who feels and thinks that way. I would love to meet that person, but I don't believe that there is a person like that. Do I ever feel like giving up on clients? No, I don't. There is definitely challenges that come with working with clients, because we're human beings at the end of the day. And like I said, I think there's a lot of opportunities within a coach to learn more about themselves when you're faced with those type of opportunities. I will always do my utmost to be able to facilitate a space for someone to be able to change, but I know and understand that I cannot create that change for someone. I'm only creating a space for them to step into that. And if a person is not willing to do that, that's not something that I will take personally. I try to remove the emotion out of that. Again, I will do my very utmost to be able to help that person and to be able to coach that person to the best of my abilities with that. But it is a collaboration, and if there is no collaboration coming from that individual, it's very hard to grow and evolve. And I don't feel like myself I've ever felt like giving up on a client. Have I ever felt like giving up on myself because of working with a client? Definitely. I've definitely had like imposter syndrome working with clients. As the guys kind of talked about, change is bloody hard. And maybe working with a client over a period of time, maybe feel like you're doing a lot of great work, and then something happens in their life that has become really, really stressful, and it's like trigger them to go back to a state where they were maybe like 6, 7, 8 months ago, and they come in and they feel like they're back in that state. And I think that's where you'll be able to actually talk to the client about what the guys talked about. How much damage did that cause you? Were you self-aware to know what was happening to you in the moment? And it's being able to give them the sense of relief in knowing that they didn't regress back as far as maybe what they would have maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. And that's actually where the change is. But yeah, that's a good question, and I think I'll leave it at that.
It's a good answer.
We've probably gone over the 3 minutes. So.
But I think I agree. I don't think I ever feel like giving up on clients. Do I feel frustrated? Yes. I'd be lying if I didn't get frustrated, and often it's just because, again, I care. But, you know, do I get frustrated at people sitting at this table? Yes. Do I get frustrated at myself? Yes. I get frustrated a lot. Do I show it? Maybe not. But no, it's understanding. What I try and do is put myself in their shoes. So when you can, a lot of times the frustration or feeling like giving up on a client can be ego driven, because it's kind of like you could come at it from, I'm trying to help this person, they're not doing what I say, versus going, this person is struggling. It's not me that is causing the issue, you know? And it's like, if you can look at it from the other lens and go, okay, I can imagine what this person is going through at the moment, that they can't reach out or they're not communicating or whatever the problem is that they have. If you can come at from that angle, you kind of can be more empathetic, you know? And it's more not me giving up on clients, it's more trying to get the person to not give up on themselves, because that's the biggest thing. Because that's what I tell people a lot of times. When you feel like giving up, I said this in a podcast, it's like, you're never going to give up food, you're never giving up walking, you're never giving up sleeping, you're never giving up talking. We do it every day anyway. So what really are you giving up is you're just giving up on yourself. So if we can, I'm not going to give up on that person, and I'm going to try to get them not to give up on themselves, you know.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, especially if you like a client, it's really when they feel like kind of giving up on themselves, and there's like that breakdown of communication. But like, I would never give up on a client, and I'm always going to keep trying. I'll try different approaches, and it's just, it can be hard if there is a breakdown of communication. If there's no communication, you might not understand what's going on, so you can't like help someone if they're not kind of responding, like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my.
Yeah.
Sharon, to finish it up.
Sharon, finishing thoughts.
Finish.
We're only over 3 minutes, 3.5.
Finishing thoughts. Okay, motivation all the time? Absolutely not. Is it just some weeks ticking boxes? Yes, this week some boxes weren't even ticked, and there will be weeks like that, and it's learning to be okay with that and getting back to normal, hopefully, from next week. Given up on clients, I don't think I've ever given up on a client. Again, it is that piece of sometimes you're working with clients and they're struggling, or maybe they're not communicating what's going on, and like Eve said, when there is that breakdown, it is really hard to help them. like it has been a thing maybe in the past where I'm working with clients and you feel like that person who's like always texting, it's like, you know, no reply,
Stalker.
texting, yeah, that kind of like, why are you double texting me, like, but again, it's always kind of coming from a place of just wanting to help them, giving them guidance, and I think it is that piece, Matt, that it's easy sometimes to just give up on yourself when things are hard, or that feeling, and I've had it so many times before where it's like, oh my God, I'm just sick of all this, I'm not doing it anymore. And it's nice to know, even if your coach is really annoying you, texting you, is everything all right, how are you getting on, that you still do have someone there that is there to support you, and it's just for them to be able to kind of take that reach out and be able to ask for a little bit of help or communicate what's going on, and to be able to express that with someone who will support them through it.
Thanks for listening to the Future Fitness Lifestyle. If you found value in today's show, please take a moment to leave us a review and share it with someone who could benefit. Every single review or share helps us grow the show and will allow us to keep bringing you more great content. Stay tuned for weekly episodes where we'll be sharing more tips and insights to help you take your health, fitness and mindset to the next level. Thanks again for joining us, and remember, consistency beats perfection. See you in the next episode.